Rottweiler is loving and liberal. This is right-wing and evil. Several fighters are broken off from the main group. Come with me.
Bill Clinton, worse than Hitler, Stalin. He wants to kill a lot of people. Oh, he's so loving. He's militarizing the police. That's what liberals do, of course. Yes.
Oh, a killer, huh?
Doubling the size of the FBI, Bill Clinton.
A good opening up for the show. We had a little Paco Taco. I used my little mini cam which zooms in on his eyeball. They were laughing their butt off. I need to send
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand these experiments. And what the hell's wrong with them? It's completely reasonable. It's like transmitting. Everyone must accept it. It's going to free society. Oh, compact cities, control, militarized forces of police, electronic lobotomies on a mass scale. It's going to free society. Oh, I love socialism. Oh, please centralize everything. Cameras, microphones in your toilets. Everywhere, cameras. For the children.
Payments for 3 months and 0% APR for 3 whole years. Mitsubishi Eclipse, a consumer.
Get it where he's right in the kitchen with all. Yeah, that's right behind him.
Alex, I've been wanting to come down here for the last 6 years, and it just so worked out this weekend. I didn't know it till a couple days ago, but I got an opportunity to come down here, fly down, and I'm really glad I got to make it. I don't get to stay very long. I have to fly out today, but I come down here and met a lot of new people, real nice people. I knew what I was going to meet when I got here anyway. It's no surprise. But all these people out here volunteering to help these Davidians rebuild this church, and I think it's great. You know, the federal government, they like to go out and destroy, and these people are out here building, and that's the difference between a bunch of good folks and a bunch of bad ones. They're on all of us, after all of us, to pay our tax dollars, and I can tell you what those tax dollars go for. They go for our own destruction. And this, the Branch Davidian Mount Carmel here was just an excellent example of what I'm talking about. If people can't see that, then there's no future for them. And that's what I feel about it.
And you know, it's been done by all volunteer and all donations.
Yes, sir, that's true. Well, that's beautiful. That's the way the people think like I do. That's the way we think and believe. Nobody's taxing anybody. They want to come out and help, that's great. They're here. You can see that. Doing a great job. Bo Gritz was up there working on it a while ago, and he said, oh, there's Weaver. He built a cabin. He can help us build. I said, yeah, I think these people are more particular than what I was.
And you know what the model of this is? You burn it, we build it.
Absolutely.
You see that sticker? You see the
I haven't seen that, no.
It's on the back of a lot of these cars.
Well, that's great. If I can find one, I'm going to take one home and put it on my truck.
Well, we got 500 and they're gone now.
Yeah.
We ordered some more.
Now, this is great. I'm having fun this weekend. My wife was upset. She couldn't come down, but we got 3 little kids at home yet, and she'll forgive me. I'd come down here yesterday, and I'll be home tonight, so we'll be back down sometime, visit, and hopefully bring the kids with us.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you're great. We're glad you came.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Right. I'm Mike. That's Alex.
Keep in contact.
It's hard to, there's things going on all over the country, and the ATF, they destroy people's lives every day of the week. We just don't hear about it.
You don't hear about it.
Yeah. And I tell people, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Steve and I was talking about it. Somebody, sometimes got to stand up, and you got to stand up for and be willing to die. Freedom isn't free, and this is a perfect example right here.
A lot of people keep asking me. They say, "Why are you doing this? This is dangerous." I say, "Hey, all they can do is kill us."
Getting on the freeway, getting on the freeway is dangerous.
And and of course you know that more than anybody, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, when they want us to jump through their hoops and all that, They're not my God or my creator, or they're not my boss or anything else. They're nobody to me, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Right.
nobody. They want to be somebody's. They want to be Wyatt Earp and Bill Hickok and all that, and they want to come out and just kill people. They're murderers is what they are. They're liars and murderers, period.
Well, I tell you what, I didn't think I'd live long enough to see this militarization of the police, but it's happening all over, and not just here, but the world. So, death to the new world order.
What do you think I got on the back here?
Yeah.
Look at,
There's Alex for similar respects for what happened down there to the people that went through this terrible tragedy. Similar to a tragedy that my family went through at Ruby Ridge. And what the government has proven to me without a doubt is that they can lie, cheat, murder, steal, thieve, period.
Did you have anyone related to you that was involved?
No, ma'am. I didn't know any of these people until I met Clyde Doyle somewhere 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember where for sure, but I was impressed with Clyde and the story he had to tell. And it brought back memories for me, of course. And when you see your family especially, lose your children and all that, it's the worst thing that can happen to anyone. And if it's not, it's not normal. And they murdered my little boy and never even wanted to admit that they shot him, you know, like they did. And my wife, to this day, they haven't admitted that they targeted her for murder, but she was targeted. The head of the sniper team, Richard Rogers, you people probably know that name. I hope people never forget it, because Richard Rogers is an accessory to many murders, and he's a liar, and he's a coward. But he is their biggest, baddest boy. He's not big and bad. He has got a big team with a lot of guns, period. Mao Zedong said the power comes out of the barrel of a gun. And this country, the people that run it know that, and that's how they want to push their, mandate their laws and everything against us. And you know, like gun laws, to me, are victimless crime laws. The Second Amendment, if we lose that amendment, you people will be working for the government. You won't be working as private citizens for a private company. You'll lose your First Amendment and all the other ones. Right now, they're held a little bit at bay, but the people in charge, I'm going to tell you what their attitude is. Their attitude is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is just a nuisance. And this is their thinking, their philosophy. They really believe it. That's fine. They got the right to believe that way, but don't, you know, like people can think anything they want, but let's take white supremacy. If you want to believe that garbage, you can, but don't act on it. You start acting on it, and you start beating people up because they're different colors. That's wrong. The government, they don't like the way I think, the way I believe. Fine, this is America. We have that right, and they don't have the right to come in and kill me and ruin my family, kill me or my family, and ruin our lives like they did.
You talk about people in charge. Can you kind of comment on Janet Reno and her role in that, role in today's time?
I'm going to cut Janet Reno one slack. She was never a military person. She has no idea what these, like Dick Rogers was in Vietnam. He was an officer over there, and he acts like a military man, which is totally unconstitutional to act that way against American people. Janet Reno didn't understand where Dick Rogers come from. She should not be in her position of power. They should have a man in there if they're going to run their operation like this. Somebody that's been there. I've been through the gas chamber. I know what CS gas is, and I wouldn't run that into a building full of dogs, let alone children, women, or even men. It's terrible stuff.
Can you comment on the fact that this is the goal for this is 7-year anniversary? Talk about what you think dedication.
Well, it's like they have a bumper sticker. I haven't seen it yet, but it says something to the effect that they can burn them down and we'll rebuild them. And I'm proud of them. You know, I love them. I don't know them well. I've met a few and I've forgotten most of their names already. But they're my kind of people. Thank you very much, man. Intimidate you, they're God, and you can.
I don't know. I haven't been out on your side. So you have to tell me how it is over there. It's like blind man feeling an elephant. Anyway, I'm down here with the troops, the good guys. What happened to Davey from Dallas? And Alex?
There's a black helicopter just there.
Oh my gosh! You know something? When I was an Army aviator, we painted them all green. As a second lieutenant, I used to praise God for two things: railroads and towns with water towers with the name written on them. I don't know how many times I've come down, followed the railroad, and then circled the town to read the water tower, and nobody shot at me, and I wasn't shooting at anybody. I was just 19 years old and happy to have my hand around a stick other than my own. And so it was a big thrill. The kids have never changed. They don't paint the helicopters, they just fly them. As far as I know, the Army paints their helicopters black because they're more radar resistant when they go overseas. That's what I want. I don't want the bad guys to be able to pick them up.
So how come they've become so mythologized, the black helicopters?
Oh, just because they're probably black helicopters. What if they were white and pink and firing at you? Those are the ones that you want to make icons out of. It doesn't make a difference what color they are. It just is what they're doing to you. And like I say, most of the Army helicopters are black with a radar reflective paint. The boys are the same. They're just happy to be flying something, and they're not hurting anybody. And they're training for things overseas. You know, things that people don't realize. When I was a young company commander, as a first lieutenant, we had major divisions coordinated. We ran tanks over farmers' fences. We fought in the middle of towns. I executed a guy at a Confederate War Memorial in Chester, South Carolina. I made a mistake because as a young lieutenant, you aren't prejudiced in the Army. My firing squad had 3 black guys in it. And we shot a white man that was a spy, and the sheriff came up behind me. My name was Jimmy Wilkes in those days, and said, "Jimmy, we've been supporting you, but we don't like black boys shooting white boys down here in South Carolina." So I realized my mistake. So what we did in those days, compare what we're doing now, is nothing. And so if we had multi-divisional operations now, everybody would be crazy. And so you got to be crazy about something. I think I know what it is. In Vietnam, I was captain, reconnaissance chief for Delta Force, and intelligence officer. And one day we were staging a pig pen, and as I laid down that night for launch the next morning, I started itching. I thought it was mosquitoes. I had malaria over in Vietnam. Every place I touched, a big welt came up. So I thought, boy, this is pretty interesting. So I go like this, and a big welt had come up. So I went to the surgeon. I said, "Hey, look at this, doc." And he said, "Oh, that's nothing. You just got the hives." And I said, "What's the hives?" He said, "You're nervous." I said, "I'm not nervous." He said, "Well, you think you aren't, but you are." I think that's what's happening in America. We got the hives. Our body politic has the hives. He gave me a pill. I wasn't into drugs in those days. Probably was a Valium or something. I took it. I never had the hives since. But America needs a tranquilizer.
Why do you think some people think that the
Are dogs of the federal agencies? The Senate's tried to get rid of them twice, but because they are civil service, you cannot just fire them. You have to transfer them. And since they're part of the Treasury Department, the only 2 agencies that can accept them are U.S. Customs and Secret Service. And both of them have said they are substandard and we won't take them. So it's catch-22. We got them. They started this place right here, Waco, and they started Randy Weaver's at Ruby Ridge. It wasn't a New World Order. That's dummies. That's the ATF, followed by the FBI, which aren't much smarter, obviously. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. was just a TV character.
Some people thought that Zog were responsible for what happened.
That's what the FBI called their robot. Remember the 750-pound robot at the back they called it Zog. I never did know what it meant. What is Zog?
Zog is the Zionist occupation government.
There's only about 1/3 of 1% of the American military is Jewish. So where do you get Zionist occupational government? You got to get somebody in the government, right? Well, I mean, I guess there's a lot of bureaucrats that are Jewish. I take the Forward newspaper out of New York City. I subscribe to it because I want to know what's going on. And they have said it's almost embarrassing at the number of Jewish people that Clinton has appointed to the State Department and his administration. But, what are they occupying? I mean, they're not out here, I don't think, are they?
But did you see people out at Ruby Ridge holding signs?
Oh, I saw them. Listen, I saw skinheads. I saw Nazis. I saw Richard Butler, old dude from Aryan Nations. I saw a lot of people out there. I was worried about Weaver. I didn't give a damn about reading signs. I probably couldn't tell you a single sign because I just wasn't interested in what was going on out there. My job was like here, underground. I was there. I was up on top of the hill. So, listen, I think people have a First Amendment right. I support it. I'd put my blood on the street to make sure that every American had a right to speak his will. We just had a trial in London with Irving. What's his name? David Irving. And Irving said, if I win, it's not that there wasn't a Holocaust, but it means that we can still discuss the Holocaust in Great Britain. I knew David Irving would never win. I mean, the judge would have probably been declared some kind of an SS guard and would have been villainized and sent to Israel, to be persecuted and electrocuted, maybe. So Irving lost. I'm real sorry about it, because you do need the freedom to discuss things. Isn't that what Hitler did? Didn't he burn all the books? Didn't he say, basically, and isn't that the same thing Mao Zedong did and Stalin? They said, you can't talk about this, you can't read that. You're only going to talk and read about what we say. So I'm for the First Amendment. You guys better get it back. In Switzerland, they sentenced an old man to 1 year in prison because he questioned whether or not the Nazis used Zyklon B in gas chambers. Switzerland, 1 year. You can't even discuss that? See, I'm glad I'm in America, because I'm free to discuss anything within limits. And limits mean you can't yell fire in a theater. And if you don't tell the truth, then people ought to nail your hide to the wall. But, I'm very much worried. I didn't think Switzerland would ever have that kind of control. Whatever happened, to William Tell. You go back to Switzerland, we got our Second Amendment from Switzerland. And I look at William Tell and I wonder, my gosh, he wouldn't have stood a chance today. Wouldn't have been able to speak out, would he?
Will you tell me about the New World Order? How does it work?
Well, they've been trying to do it, I suppose, since, let's go back, I guess Caesar, he thought he had it. Certainly, I don't think there was any question that Constantine, he thought he had it. He used Christianity, as a matter of fact, as a sun worshiper to glue it together for him. Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun, Hitler, he thought he had it, didn't he? And so they've been trying to do this thing for a long time. I think we'll have a new world order. It won't be a utopia at all. It will always be divisive because you have different cultures, different languages. You have, in America we got this Second Amendment thing, and everybody's hollering, screaming, yelling about more gun controls. I saw the other day where a guy was saying we ought to apply controls on bathtubs because they kill so many people every year. They ought to be registered and all that kind of stuff, and restrictions and locks put on them. But see, in Europe, not talking about Great Britain, you're an island now, but in Europe, those guys don't have near the incident we do with bathtubs because they don't bathe as often. And so you see, maybe they shouldn't have to register their bathtubs. You understand?
Yeah. One more question. What do you think of the ADL?
The Anti-Defamation League, I think, are a bunch of bastards and wild dogs. I'm a member of the Jewish Defense League, and Irv Rubin, who is the head of it, calls them the same thing because they will bite their own. They are vicious. They don't care whether they are attacking innocents, whether they are right or wrong. They will take advantage of any situation to make their headlines, to get more jingles, in their coffers. And I like Rubin because he's been put in jail as many times I've been decorated, and he'll come for you. And if you're doing bad by his cause, you know exactly where he's going to be. He's going to be right in your face. But the ADL is sneaky. I think that Abraham Foxman is probably doing a good job for his organization, but nobody else. That's what I think of the ADL. I think the ADL have the same position probably as the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's a giant misnomer. They got $53 million in the bank. When's the last time they really did anything, putting themselves in harm's way for anybody? So they're not poor. That's for damn sure.
Do you know if the ADL have ever said anything about Randy Weaver?
Oh, I'm sure they have, because they, unfortunately, the law enforcement in America, and probably the State Department, Department of Justice, they all look to the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center to provide information on from their Overwatch groups. But I've never seen any of those guys around. Maybe they're all undercover. But they write up all this stuff, and from my point of view, knowing what I do know, usually the things that they write are false. So what good's a lie? I mean, if you want to put value to a lie, I'd say it was 1,000,000 times zero, still zero. So I can't understand why the government would put any real value, but they do. So be it. Doesn't make a difference to me.
Anyway, keep working.
Yeah, we're after it. Look here, my troops have deserted me, except one loyal man. Good guy. Could you get those mailbox back there and bring that forward? I think what we've done is we've run out of siding, so we're going to wait till we get back to town.
My truck's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I came up there. I don't. Every private moment.
Those blisters aren't going to be.
I've known stamp officers to get a Purple Heart blister.
Is that right? Well, that'd be a good one then.
I think a lot of people need to know that we don't, you know,
Because people always, I have people, they've written emails, and one thing they say, we used to have faith in you, but not anymore. I don't really care. I don't want to. I'm just, well.
What do you have there?
The government is, just like Alex Jones says, the government blows up their own building so they can spend over $30 million in an edifice to Bill Clinton's success. And out here, the people have helped raise the Branch Davidian Church, and they have contributed their own money. And yet I think what we've done here is far more meaningful and valuable, at least in spiritual terms, than the Alfred P. Murrah building will ever be. So yes, I think it's ironic, and I think it's appropriate that they have the dedication on the same day. Because all the staff pukes, politicos will be at the memorial to Bill Clinton, $30 million, and all the quality people, God's people will be out here. So
I love it.